All right, I think we're just waiting for Holly. Oh.
Yeah, I had a little trouble logging in.
Yeah, I think we all did. I just got a text from Holly saying I have an invalid meeting, and then it got cut off. So, Kirk, maybe you could call her and tell her what's happening.
Yeah, I'm texting her right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I got reports that Zoom was down this afternoon, I guess. I'm not sure what's going on.
So I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting of August 24th, 2020. Would you please take the roll?
Becken,
Here.
Johnson,
Here.
Leo,
Here.
Lewis,
Here.
Peterson,
Here.
Trester,
Here.
Verplank. Verplank.
I can see her.
Mhm.
She's muted. There she is.
There we go. Whoop.
Here. My space bar doesn't work.
Okay, everyone is present, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We'll do go to the approval of minutes of the regular City Council meeting of August 10th, 2020. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move we approve the regular city council meeting of August 10th, 2020 as sent.
Is there a second?
A second.
Moved by Peterson, second by Lewis to approve the minutes of the meeting of August 10th, 2020. Is there any discussion?
Was the second Verplank or Lewis?
Verplank.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
We sound alike. That's amazing.
You do. Give me a wave of your hand. All right, we have a motion and second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? None. Let's take a roll call vote.
Peterson,
Yes.
Verplank,
Yes.
Becken,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Trester.
Yes,
Motion passes.
the minutes are approved. Next is the, excuse me, approval of the minutes of the special city council meeting of August 17th, 2020. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Barry,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the special city council meeting of August 17th, 2020 as submitted.
is there a second?
This is Lewis, second.
Thank you. Moved by Johnson, second by Lewis to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, this takes a roll call vote as well.
Johnson,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Becken,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Trester,
Yes,
Verplank.
Yes.
Motion passes.
the minutes of the council meeting of August 17th are approved. No mayor's comments, city manager comments.
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Any proposed changes to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, if I jump in, Lieutenant Ensfield contacted me and he is on another project right now this evening, so he will attend the next meeting and give council an update.
Alrighty. Then there are no guest speakers.
Hold on, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Barry,
Agenda changes, we still on that?
we certainly are.
In the minutes of the last regular meeting, I have again asked for a report from the Blue Star Trail Committee. And if that report can be made, I'd like to have it added to the agenda.
Is there any dissent?
Fine. I'm ready to make an update.
Okay. All right, we will put that under
17. 17B.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay. We'll move to public comment on agenda items only. If anyone wishes to make a comment, please volunteer yourself and tell us your name and where you reside, and please limit comments to 3 minutes. Anybody wish to make a comment on agenda items only? I'm not seeing any raised hands. So then we shall move to requests for payment, approval of accounts payable. Is there a motion to approve the accounts payable?
Mr. Mayor,
Garnet?
this is Garnett. Yep. Move to approve accounts payable in the amount of $443,713.53.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Lewis, seconded by Johnson to approve the accounts payable. Discussion. Hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Lewis,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Becken,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Trester,
Yes.
Verplank.
Yes.
Motion passes.
The accounts payable are approved. There are no introduction of ordinances. There are no public hearings, no unfinished business. We'll move to new business, which is resolution number 200-841-A, November election polling location change. Kirk?
Yep, Mr. Mayor, I'll give the report on this. As it says in the description of the agenda item report, the staff is proposing to move the polling location to the Women's Club, which is just down the street from City Hall. The primary reason for this move is due to the COVID-related issues. The upstairs, you can only have a few, well, actually, we anticipate you might only be able to have one voter at a time, depending on how many poll watchers that we may have. So it's also on the second floor, which makes things rather difficult, and just spacing out with all the COVID-related issues. Cindy has did some investigation and found that the Women's Club would be a much better venue. So therefore, she checked with the county clerk, and one of the processes we have to follow is have the council approve a resolution to authorize this. Again, we wanted to keep it in the downtown so people are familiar with the location. We would heavily notify everyone in advance where this is going to be, but we're also really encouraging people to vote absentee through the City Hall locked drop box that we have installed at the front door. So, but at any rate, that's the gist of it. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Any questions of Kirk?
Or Kirk, Mr. Mayor, this is Garnett.
Yes.
What's the capacity at the Women's Club? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay.
I know it's significantly more than City Hall. If Cindy was on tonight, she'd be able to tell you that. I know she looked into that.
Okay.
But I know she told me that based on the anticipation that they think that they're going to have a certain higher number of poll watchers, that we would only be able to have potentially at times one voter at a time.
Mhm.
And that would be, you know, it worked okay for the August election because we had the front door open, but in the wintertime and in November, it could be much more problematic. So I'll get the capacity from Cindy and send that out to council, but I do know she went down there and had everything laid out, and it's much bigger.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Chris?
Having been there for shows and things, I think also you can have a separate entrance and exit, which was kind of a something definitely we didn't have going up and down the steps at City Hall.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sure. One more quick question. This is Garn. So Kirk, you talked about informing folks. Do you want to tell us what your plans are for informing our residents? How, when, where, how often, that kind of thing?
We will be doing the new city clerk that we just hired will be starting August 31st. So what we'll be doing probably on a weekly basis through Facebook and email, just encouraging people to, obviously, we really want people to vote absentee if they can. That's the safest way and the easiest way. But for those that can't, we want to remind them each time we send out a communication for the council packets and probably once a week, just letting people know that the venue has changed. And we'll also have, during the day of the election, we'll have large signs and people at City Hall as well. So if someone doesn't get that information, we'll be at City Hall to direct them where to go. I'll also contact the local paper too, so that they're aware of it. So we'll do everything in our power to get the info out, and hopefully council members can share it on their social media pages as well. And I would imagine when we get the new city clerk hired, we'll probably have some other social media aspects in place, maybe some Twitter accounts and things like that. So we're going to try to use every available resource we can to let people know.
Yeah, I see Scott Sullivan's on, so I'm
Yep,
sure he'll
yep.
get right on that.
They'll do it. This could be a front page story.
Any other questions?
Sorry, guys, I have it.
Okay. Then we need a motion.
This is Garn,
Yes,
if I
sir.
may. Motion to approve resolution number 200824-A and move the City of Saugatuck polling location for the November 3rd, 2020 general state election to the Saugatuck Women's Club building at 303 Butler Street.
Is
Second,
there a second? Chris? Moved by Lewis, seconded by Peterson. Any discussion? Then we'll take a roll call vote.
Lewis,
Yes.
Peterson,
yes.
Becken,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Trester,
Yes.
Verplank.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution number.
Excuse me, Ken.
Yeah, yes, Mark.
Just one request to the city manager as we get closer to the election day, if you could keep us apprised of the progress in setting the polling booth up, so on and so forth. Parking's going to be a big issue there, so we're going to have to keep that in mind too, but appreciate updates as we get closer to the election date.
And also what we'll do, I'll definitely will make sure that the council's updated, but we can also, we'll block off some parking down there on the day of the election. We'll put up some election parking only signs around there, so.
That's good. Yep. Jane?
That's what I was going to say, that there are no parking signs for elections that we put up anyway around City Hall. So we'll just move the no parking signs. Easy peasy.
All right. So the motion to move the November election polling location is approved. Move to public comments on any item. Again, if you wish to make a comment, please get my attention. And when I recognize you, give us your name, where you reside, and limit comments to 3 minutes. And I saw Dan Fox's hand raised.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to spend a little bit of time on something that took place in the second of the two meetings that you approved the minutes of this evening. I was not in the meeting on Zoom. I watched it after the fact on YouTube, which I appreciate. Anyway, in that meeting, one council member, in her comments about the city clerk applicant, said, and I transcribed this so I'd get every word correct, except I'm not going to put the names in. My other concern is that candidate's name and one of her fellow council people's name are best friends, and that council person is also currently running for election, obviously. So there's a bit of a boundary or professional issue for me there. Those are my two concerns, so I just want to put that on the record. At first, she had complimented the city clerk candidate and then made that statement. The unmistakable implication in the statement is that the new city clerk might somehow favor the council person who is a candidate for re-election. Whatever her motivation was for saying that, whether it was some political thing or whatever, I have no idea. Her comments slandered both her friend, the candidate, and also her fellow council member, and disrespected this entire council, and indeed the city of Saugatuck. In all the city council meetings I've attended, and it's been a bunch over a number of years now, I've never heard such a mean-spirited, nastiness, such a direct assault on the personal integrity of two fine people directly by name. Just absolutely remarkable rudeness, in my opinion. It's almost, I mean, it is. And to not even subtly hint that these two fine people, one a colleague, one she said was a friend, might actually break the law for political reasons. You know, the truth is Saugatuck offers a great deal of beauty. Beauty of diversity, natural beauty, most especially the beauty of the neighborliness we show one another. We are all harmed when any of that beauty is assaulted in any way. This council has traditions of good behavior, grown-up manners, if you will, on the part of its members. With that in mind, and knowing you can never really correct matters once the stink of a slanderous statement like that is in the air, let me suggest that council member, the one who made the ugly remark, should apologize in public to the two people whose reputations she rudely sullied. Failing that, I would suggest that she be officially censured by this council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to make a comment? So I'm not seeing pictures of attendees on my screen, so please press the raise your hand button if you wish to make a comment. Kirk, I'm seeing none. Do you see any?
I don't see any, but if anybody, if they just unmute themselves and they can get your attention, they could speak. I'm not seeing anyone here.
Very well. All right, we'll move to communications. What we have is the Sheriff's Office Incident Analysis Report. For our information, does anyone have any comments or things we would like to convey back to Lieutenant Ansfield? Anybody in council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Chris.
I did the walk. There were several of us did the walk on Park Street with Neil. And I'm thinking that we need to put that on a workshop. Maybe it's already scheduled. He had obviously some suggestions regarding signs and times of police presence and everything. But it was dangerous. The sides of the road are crumbling. There were 2 huge potholes there on top of 200 and some thousand people driving it. So if it's not on a workshop, could we please put it on a workshop? And I'm not sure when the Fleece and Vanderbrink study is going to be done. And maybe we want to wait for that.
I second that.
Thanks.
Mr. Mayor, if I may give some insight here. Yeah, I talked to the engineers at Fleece and Vandenbrink, and we're expecting to have that report soon. What I would recommend is when we get that report, we put that on a workshop, and then we can have everything in front of you to look at some policy options. We're going to be getting some hot patch and able to kind of fix the areas on the road. We did also have our patrol car out in that area that we put out there kind of as a deterrent, but we did have to use it over the weekend for reserve activities, but we're utilizing it as well. So we will have that report soon, and hopefully we'll have a lot of good information that the council can use to make some decisions. So that would be my recommendation, but I'm happy to put anything on that council would like.
Oh, that's fine for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Mayor, if I may.
Ally? Yes.
Yeah, I know Garn, myself, and Chris all walked with Neil, and there were 4 suggestions that he made. 2 that we were able to, that the city responded to very quickly. One, the first suggestion was fixing the road, edges of the road, adding more shoulder, even a foot. The second was police deterrence, decoy car, and regular random presence of police. He's not looking for people to get tickets. He's just looking for, measures that would slow people. And the city, like Kirk said, was able to do that. He also asked for 2 more solar powered speed monitoring signs in key areas where you get sort of these gravity speed locations, and also trimming the scrub vegetation that encroaches onto the road, which does sort of imperil travel. and cleaning the sides of the road, especially at Casa Loma. That's really where the vegetation was thick, and I believe that the city was able to get DPW to look at that immediately. Is that correct, Kirk?
Yes.
So those were 4 solutions that we discussed, and that 2 that we were able to address for right away.
Okay, thank you. No other comments or questions on the incident report. We're going to move to boards, commissions, committee reports. The first is the ad hoc tri-community recycling committee update. Garnett, are you going to lead this discussion?
Yeah, I can really quickly. I know Kirk included it in the packet, so I won't go through it word for word. Y'all can read for yourselves. Basically, the committee has been meeting pretty regularly, almost every month. I was hoping Linda Escott might be on to join us tonight, but I don't see her on. So Linda and Barry and myself are the City of Saugatuck representatives on that committee. Basically, our goal has been all along to get a sense of where our residents are as far as their knowledge of recycling, and see what we can do to increase their effectiveness as far as recycling, and then how can we communicate and educate them about recycling. The group it's a great group. I think really enjoyed ourselves. I'll let Barry chime in whenever he's ready. Have had quite a few informative sessions with various professionals in the recycling, composting, green energy field, and all those Zoom recordings are available through the City of Saugatuck YouTube site. So if folks want to go back and watch those are well worth your time. But our goal has been since early on to really get a sense of where all of our residents are, both in the City of Saugatuck, the township, and the City of Douglas, and not just our residents, but our business owners as well. So with the help of my very good friend and business colleague, Elizabeth Estes, we've developed an online survey. Mark Epstein helped originally draft that, and the committee has done quite a work on drafting those questions. And then E and I got those into a SurveyMonkey format. Our intention is to get those out to residents and business owners, first to business owners through the various listservs, if you will, SADABA, the CVB, the online social media pages, and then the next day to all of our residents through the respective municipality listservs. Because we're doing it online, and because Elizabeth and I are doing this, it's basically the administration and analysis of all the data will be gratis. So won't be cost anybody, any municipality, a penny. The only money that will basically be charged is if someone wants a hard copy of the survey. And we fully expect that we will have residents who are not comfortable using online versions. And we're going to encourage them through that communication from the municipality to request a hard copy. We'll get those data entered and analyzed with the large survey. So I have here included the time frame. It's pretty ambitious, but given the format, it's well within our means to do. The online version for business owners will come out on the 8th. The online version for residents will come out on the 9th. We'll get reminders to them 12 to 13 days later, and then we'll close the surveys on the 25th, analyze the data on the 2nd of October, and get a draft report to the committee on the 9th. So it's moving pretty fast and furious, and Scott Sullivan already had a nice article in the Commercial Record for us. Thank you, Scott. And then we'll do a press release to the various news sources and see if we can get on with our friend Mike on the morning grind and just get the information out that way. So that's it in a nutshell. Barry, anything to add?
Yeah, it's related, but not something that happened at a meeting. But I received some calls over the weekend and end of last week about some of our residents just don't feel that one recycling pickup is enough per month. And for us to address that, Garnett, if we could ask the council's indulgence to have Kirk look into that, what it would cost to add a second pickup. And with that information, a second recycling pickup. And with that information, Garnett and I can kind of put that out, what our experience would be if we were to do that. Is that okay, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Any
do believe
questions?
one of the questions does ask folks interest and desire for more than one pickup a month. If they're willing to do it weekly, every 2 weeks, just getting a sense of what they'd be willing to do. So that is
Right.
one of the questions.
Right. So let's put a cost to it so we're prepared to answer that question.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, that's it in a nutshell. So the township and the city of Douglas are all good. They're ready to go. So we're the last ones. We just need your blessing.
Do you need council approval of this?
I think unless you're absolutely opposed to it, I'll just run with it. How's that?
Well, I certainly think it's a good piece of hard work that you guys did and would support moving ahead with that. Anyone else have comment on that?
Mr. Mayor, I think that's why you appoint a ad hoc committee to get do the homework, get the job done, and this doesn't cost anything. If we had some costs involved in it, I think Garnett would be coming back to say,
Sure.
we would be saying, hey, we need $100 or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Any comments, folks? Thank you. You guys are doing a good job on this thing. I think it'll be a very valuable piece of information, the survey.
Thank you.
Yes. Next is then to talk about the non-motorized trail. Holly?
Yep, so the status of the Blue Star Non-Motorized Joint Trail Committee, it was agreed between the 3 communities to delay the meetings due to COVID. No committee members requested to continue meetings, and the deadline of the Tri-Community Joint Study Committee has expired. It was July 1st, so each city would have to take up a resolution again.
We should put that on the next workshop, I think, as well. I'm sure we're going to want to resolve to do that, right?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Chris.
Yes, and I saw the article that was put out by the Blue Star Trail people. Someone asked me today, there is a lot of work going on in South Haven. Holly, do you know, have they started? Is that Blue Star Trail work that's going on there?
You'd have to ask the Blue Star Trail directly. I know that, our piece of the trail only compromises 0.4 miles of a 20-mile trail. And I know that they are looking south due to, the time and the difficulty that it's taken. But that would be a question for them in particular.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
No, I'd just personally like to thank Holly for the report. That totally got by me that the time expired for the ad hoc committee. So that is a good report to let us know where we're at.
Good. Okay, I'm going to add a report of the Harbor Authority. We did meet on August 18th, and a couple items of interest. Number one is that we talked about the invasive treatment area. As you may know, Douglas went ahead with treating the milfoil and duckweed in Wade's Bayou. They herbicided about 50 acres of the bayou at a cost of about $64,000 for, I believe it was 3 applications. The good news is that it seemed to have worked. If you've looked over there lately, it greatly reduced the duckweed, which floats up on top, and they also report that the milfoil has been eradicated as well. We talked a bit about having Saugatuck. We made a commitment we were going to go ahead next year with our side of the bridge, and so Douglas was urging that we coordinate that effort and perhaps take advantage of doing this jointly and perhaps having a reduced cost. We did also talk about the Saugatuck Township's intent to join the authority, and the resolutions that were passed by Saugatuck and Douglas are being considered by the authority, but there seems to be some interest on this part of the Douglas contingent to come up with some kind of entry fee, if you will, which was not something that we thought was appropriate. So our Douglas folks are discussing that. The township is waiting to hear what Douglas has in mind in terms of the cost to join. We also talked about the possibility of making Kalamazoo Lake a no-wake area. And I think we all agreed that it's really not worth the effort, certainly this year, to do that. The problem has not been as bad as it has been in previous years. In addition to that, the lake water level has gone down almost a foot, so that also helps mitigate some of the problems we had with boulders, wakes washing up on our shore. Anybody have questions about that? Okay, so we will then move. Well, are there any other boards, commissions, activities to report? Mark, was there anything with the Sewer and Water Authority?
We reported last week, so I don't have anything, Barry.
Nope. It was a good report last week. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, anybody else have a report? Jane?
The fire board met on August 17th. Thus far this year, there has been 83 fatal fires in the state of Michigan, or 83 fatalities, 10 since last meeting. It's amazing with firefighting skills, what they are. We still have fatalities. We have Chris Mantles is in charge of our grant program, and we received 2 grants, one from MMRMA, who was our insurer, for $3,021.90 to pay for a fire inspector class for one of our people. And we also received a grant from EMS licensing, or I'm not sure who the grant was from, I'm sorry, for $4,700 for COVID supplies. Chris keeps a real close eye on small grants, and every little bit counts, and that's about $7,000, $8,000 worth of grants. So every little bit counts, and Chris does a real good job with that. We have been working diligently on a new cost recovery standard operating guideline. A lot of our calls are things that are from carelessness or from people that don't live here, drunk driving, that kind of thing. So we are working on cost recovery guidelines once again. Those aren't quite complete yet. We are doing the adoption of the fire district personnel manual. We had the second reading of that. It's fascinating. Adoption of the fire district lexical SOP, SOG manual. And we also have installed a new public safety floating dock at last. It's beautiful. We're working on the last phases of the entry to the dock, and we will be landscaping shortly. And I think it was a well thought out project. We also had election of fire board officers. Yours truly is once again the chair. Eric Beckman is the vice chair. The secretary is Dan Fox, and the vice secretary is Scott Phelps. And that's my report.
Thank you. Are there any other reports? All right, then we'll move to council comments. Garnet, would you like to lead off?
Sure, just a couple things. Even though she would hate for me to do this, I'm asking that we all keep Marcia Casper in our thoughts and prayers. She's having some health issues and is in the hospital, I think, until tomorrow. So for everything she's done for us as a council and with the Planning Commission, I think it would help. I also shared with Kirk a note from Linda Escott related to walking along the side of Griffith between Francis and Mary and having some difficulty with falling. As you know, there's not a sidewalk per se of any kind on that stretch of road down the hill from, I think it is Mary to Francis. And it's becoming very difficult to walk on. And she walks there regularly up and down to church because she lives just up on Holland. So I brought it to Kirk's attention and asked if we could have DPW at least to take care of some of that side area so there's a little more room to walk. So she's fallen a couple times, but she's okay. But, you know, if we could take care of that, that'd be great. Otherwise, that's it.
Okay, Holly?
None at this time.
Barry?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to reach out to the community and let everybody know that, you know, our meetings are open to everybody. City residents and members of the greater community are always invited to participate. As we approach the November elections, it affords the 8 city council candidates a wonderful opportunity to give our constituents insights on how we will serve them if elected. So here's what I'd like to suggest. That the candidates attend every meeting. At the first public comment section, the new candidates can take the opportunity to speak about their opinions on the agenda items. Of course, the incumbents will weigh in during council deliberations. At the second public comment section, take the opportunity to speak about anything. Give us your vision of Saugatuck. Propose a future topic for discussion. Tell us where you think the city is doing a good job or what we can do better. Share a new idea. Think of it as a job interview. Tell us who you are and why you should get the job. Saugatuck wants to get to know you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Barry. Chris?
Yes, this is kind of not a follow-up so much from an earlier comment, but the last meeting we had, Councilmember Leo did express some concerns about the validity of the ballot based upon 2 people. And that kind of struck a little concern with me because that's one of the main charges we have is to prevent any type of fraudulent activity with the voting. So I kind of wanted to know if maybe she would have the opportunity, if you would give it to her, Mr. Mayor, to explain, give us her proof why she felt that that was a concern that was big enough that she had to voice it.
Okay, Holly, would you care to respond to that?
I don't really think it's germane. I said my opinion. I'll always speak my opinion. You know, I said everything I have to say. We're in council comments and I don't really think it's a discussion, so.
Very well. Chris?
Mayor? Yeah, I think that's kind of what council comments are for. So, okay, well, that cleared that part up for me and that's unfortunate. Thank you very much.
Jane?
Well, I'd just like to say that Aaron and I both have a great deal of integrity. Neither one of us would go to prison to get me elected to council. And I'm really, I think the Canadians have a word for this. It's called gobsmacked, that anybody would accuse me of any wrongdoing during an election. I'm just blown away. That's all I have to say.
All right, Mark?
I have no comment.
Very well. So we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr.
And
Mayor,
don't you have any comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Chris?
Obviously he doesn't.
Chris?
I'm sorry, I missed what was going on. Is there somebody who didn't make a comment?
I think Ken didn't make a comment.
Oh, Ken.
Well, this is the council comment time. The mayor's comments came earlier.
Oh.
Look, I think that we've had a long history, at least as long as I've been on the city council, of being considerate and respectful of each other, even if our opinions differ on the issues. And yes, I thought the comment that both Jane and Aaron would somehow potentially color the election because they're friends was inappropriate. So that's, I guess, what I would have to say about it.
And
Then, Chris,
I move we adjourn.
Second.
second. Moved by Peterson, second by Verplank, that we adjourn. It's a roll call vote. Kirk?
Here I am.
Hello?
Peterson,
Yes.
Verplank,
Yes.
Becken,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Trester. Meeting
Yes.
is adjourned.
Thank you very much. Thanks to the public that attended.